Why didn't it play? All right. What's up, everybody?
Hey,
Episode 73. Down that way over there. We have Morgan, Miss Exotic. How's it going this evening, Morgan?
It's going.
No.
So, how are y'all doing?
We all right.
I finally get to meet the co-host, the lady to the show. All right.
I know, it feels like it's Monday morning again.
Monday morning again. No, that's a bad
that show is early for me. It's 7:00, so she's an hour ahead of me.
Yeah, so where are you from, roundabouts? We're guessing you're like a couple states over because we're East Coast time.
I'm in Mississippi, so it's Central Time here. Yeah, I'm in Jack.
See, we have out there in the chat, Stan's double dipping, and then I'm double dipping, of course. We always double dip. We like to double dip. Can't help it. Crystal, how's it going, Crystal? Yeah, Brave.
What's up, Crystal?
What up, dude?
Brave.
I couldn't see the comments for a second.
My bad.
So where are y'all?
I'm from Pennsylvania.
Make sure y'all are supporting U.S. art.
What's up with my computer today? It's not wanting to do what I'm telling it to. Hey, Sherry. Thanks for coming in.
Jeez.
She popped up on last week's live. It was nice seeing you. Brother Nick, how's it going, dude? Nice to see you.
Sorry.
Going down.
The reason I was late.
You got kids. We expect it.
I got kids, yes.
Bud Fouls, how's it going? Thanks for stopping in. You got old Python Portal. How's it going, bud?
Python.
Thanks for coming in.
Python Portals.
All right. This is a whole new. I don't recognize a lot of folks. This is odd for me because when I'm on the polls, it's I feel like I'm in my own little bubble. Like I know everybody.
Right on. They don't want to pop Justin's name up because I can't win a T-shirt on his channel, so it keeps pulling him down. But that's the homie Justin from my Animal House. What's up, dude? And we got Mr. Sammy.
I know Sammy. I know him.
What's up, Sammy?
MIP.
Doing some support for the brother Sammy. And then we got Lauren from Multiplayer. How's it going? All right, so wait, there's Vance. Vance slipping in there. Brother Vance. Got a shout out to him. What up, dude? So we usually do a joke of the week, and I told you the joke to Stan backstage, and he didn't like it. So I had to scramble and find another joke. He must have got kicked off for a minute. He's got that Floridian Wi-Fi. The wind blows, he loses it. But so today, this week's joke is, why did Barbie never get pregnant? Any guesses? Because Ken always came in another box. It's never together. No. It's kind of a clean one. The other one was a little bit more risky, we'll say. How's it going, Jamie? And since you're a lady, we just decided to change it because it was little vulgar.
Wait, so what was the vulgar part?
It was the other joke that I was telling. But I mean, I could tell it if you're all right with it.
I mean, yeah, go ahead and tell it.
Okay, so are you familiar with the Game of Thrones, the TV series, the Game of Thrones?
Yeah, I didn't watch it, but I've heard like bits and pieces.
So how do you circumcise a Lannister?
I have no idea.
You kick his sister in the jaw. Because
that's like nasty.
I don't know if you watched it, but through that series, Jaime Lannister was like plowing his sister like all the time through season like 1, 2, and 3. I mean, it was just like, wow, dude, like that's your sister. Like, and you're really like going hardcore and like all that. So I mean,
Yeah.
if you watch the show, you kind of get it. If you didn't, you
I
might
don't think I
not.
want to watch it now.
Well, I mean, like there is that part to it, and that part makes you just go, well, wow. But if you think about it, like that's something that happened back in them days. Like you had brother and sister marriages all the time, and it's just not cool with society today. What's up, John? I'm going to be a guest on their show tomorrow night, so I'm excited for that. Having a problem with StreamYard. That's all right. We'll be here. Get back when you can, if you want to. See, John liked it.
No, that's fine.
So, I wanted to get you on the show to kind of touch bases with like bigger snakes because I'm still kind of hesitant with big snakes. Like, I'm still keeping them away. I'll stick to my ball pythons. Like,
what is so what is a big snake in your opinion? Because there's a lot of people out there that think a ball python is big.
A big snake. I mean, they can. I have 7 foot long, a female that's longer than me. I'm 6'2", and she, feels longer than me. And I mean, that thing's like that fat. But, 10 plus, if it stays under, 10 feet and like, I guess she's that round. So less than that round. I mean, like a retic or a berm.
Because
like a retic or a berm. Like there's, I mean, even a rock python, they get pretty big.
Yeah. But there's people out there that think a 10-foot snake isn't considered big in their eyes. So,
well, that's big.
I don't know. It is big. It's big. I think anything over, I think when you get to 10 feet, you can say it's big.
Right.
So
what are the biggest challenges you have with, for say, I mean, do you have smaller snakes or do you specifically have bigger ones?
Where are your car keys?
they're in the car.
Where?
I don't know where.
She's answering a kid question.
The oldest kid. I'm sorry. Okay,
No, that's fine.
You said my biggest challenge is with the biggest snake. Is that what you were getting at?
The bigger snakes, like for say, like if you have ball pythons and you've kept in smaller snakes like ball pythons, what's different about the bigger snakes over something that's like a ball python?
The water changes. That
Right.
is my biggest. That's my biggest pain in the ass is changing the water because my biggest right now is a 14-foot retic and she's got this big water thing. And of course she's not going to drink it all, but I need something big enough for her to be able to soak in.
Right.
So before she, can drink all that water, it's going to need to be changed out before it turns green or she gets dirt in it or whatever. And she's on the very bottom of everything. So I've got to bend down and reach in and like drag out this whole thing, fill it back up, put it in. So physically, that is the biggest strain that I have with her. That and her trying to tear up my shutters and blinds. Other than that, she's a lot easier than like my little king snake and things like that. I can't lose her. So,
Yeah, how are you going to lose something that big?
Right. I've lost my king snake a couple of times. So having one, I think that's my favorite thing about the larger snakes is you can't lose them. Like they're just too damn big. So I've got these three of the retics that I can just kind of let loose. And then one of my ball pythons I can let loose. And I know while the ball python is small, I know where she's going to go. So I don't lose her either. And she's solid white. So that's kind of hard to lose too. That's pretty much it though. I will say I like being in my front yard more than my backyard. But I don't like taking the big snake out there. I'll take all the other snakes out to the front yard. But taking the bigger one out there, I don't know. I feel like it would cause more problems socially with neighbors walking by and things like that. Everyone in my neighborhood knows that I have her. I was featured on the news.
Oh, wow.
Or, snake related. So everyone knows that I have her, but I don't want it to become a problem to where my neighborhood tries to ban them or things like that. So I take her in the backyard, which sucks.
Right.
So there's challenges. There's pros and cons to smaller snakes and bigger snakes.
How'd you end up on the news for it?
So somebody reached out to me. They found some snake eggs in their yard and they did not want them there. And there's like 1,000 comments on the thread on Facebook, people telling them to smash them with a baseball bat, throw them down the storm drain.
Wow.
And I decided to pick them up and bring them home. I could have, taken them out to my front flower beds or something and let them hatch there. But then again, I didn't want them, in my yard, get in neighbors' yards, people kill them, or take them out to the woods, let them hatch there, and then let other things eat them. So I'm incubating them in my house currently.
Right.
And that, I think, freaked out a lot of people in my area.
What's up, Rudy?
And
Right,
so here you have this, woman, stay-at-home mom in a unassuming area, and everyone else is saying, kill these snake eggs. And here's this woman's like, you know what? I'll come get them. And not only will I save them, but I will keep them in my house to make sure they're safe. And it was just a weird thing. And when the news reporter got here, she did not know that I kept pet snakes. So when she came into my reptile room, it was like, holy shit. And then I had the 14-foot snake striking at her through the glass. It's like,
oh boy, I bet you that went well.
this is, yeah. She thinks she ended up being great with it. She held a couple of the snakes. We went over a lot of things. She was here for about 2 hours.
Yeah.
So it was good. I actually met back up with her today to talk about a different issue. So
Did you say you was from Mississippi for a reason?
I am.
All right.
Yep,
And Nick had a question up here. And he says, so you could have big snakes in Mississippi, but not in Bama. I need someone to confirm this.
I can have any kind of snake I want here as long as it's not native. If I get caught with a speckled king snake, I could get caught with a felony, but I can have a king cobra. I can have a gaboon viper. I can have a 30-foot retic.
Wow.
I can have a Nile crocodile, but I can't have anything native. If I get caught with a box turtle that came from outside, I'm going to prison.
That's pretty weird. I mean,
They're very strict on it.
The biggest gripe you hear is like people saying that, like, they don't want people keeping non-native species because if they would get out, they could be, environmental problem. But then you have that side of it where they're saying you can't keep anything native.
Right.
That's
So as a state, we're allowed to keep all these things. There is one single county in the state that's next to the county that I'm in. And this is why I don't take the big snake out to the front.
right.
So I'm in Madison County. Rankin County is the neighboring county. The entire county has banned pet snakes overall. It's illegal to own any snakes, native or not, in Rankin County. The state doesn't have an issue with it, but the county does. But I don't want my county to see my big snake and try to do the same, especially since I'm in a new city. This city wasn't established until like last year. So, and they're trying to establish themselves, and I already have attention on me because I have these animals. I don't want any more negative attention, pretty much.
How long ago was that you was on the news?
End of May.
And it may say,
End of May, early June. These eggs
So
are due
did-
to hatch in August or early September.
That's what I was going to say. Like, when are the eggs going to hatch out? Like, 'cause that'd be pretty exciting, finding some eggs outside and just be like, ooh, I'm going to go,
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
I'm excited.
Morris
And
Forge,
these,
what is up? Thank you for the $10.
so they're
Hell
black
yeah,
racer
buddies.
eggs, and they're hard to. Black racers are kind of hard to catch. They're the fastest snakes in the south.
Yeah,
so
they're pretty
it's hard to
fast.
tell. And I'm currently I got 18 eggs, and one of them went bad. But I checked.
So you got
all
like
of them.
17 of them.
I have 17 eggs here.
Wow.
Doing their thing. I'm super excited about it. I can't wait.
Yes, heck
to see
yeah.
'em.
I would be super excited about that too. Like,
They're
they're nice
going
looking
crazy.
snakes too. And like, that is something that not only you could sell, I mean, if you wanted to, but like you could keep those as a pet, and they are super sweet looking snakes.
Can't.
No, you're native, so you can't.
Yes,
That's right.
As soon as they, what? As soon as they hatch, they gotta go. There's nothing telling me that I cannot pick these eggs up out of the wild. Ethically, I don't think it's right.
Right.
But not everything is black and white. And what I told the news reporter, I wanted to take them and give them a fighting chance versus her destroying them, which would have been within her rights to do so as a homeowner.
Right.
So this is, while I would not condone taking things out of the wild and bringing them into your house, there's always going to be some little gray area. And I just wanted to see them thrive, especially in an area where people are burn your house down, move,
Right.
smash them with a bat,
Yeah, most people would want to kill them, but you actually went out there and picked them up and saved them. That's cool.
Yes, I'm so excited about it.
It'd be nicer if they let you keep them though, because I definitely would want to keep one of them. That'd be awesome.
If I did, I couldn't tell anybody about it.
Right.
So,
Well, another one of the eggs must have went bad.
right. Well, there's nothing. I don't have to report anything to anybody. So I can just make a video of me with a handful of racers, letting them loose into the woods.
So that's what you're going to do with them then? Put them back into the wild?
Pretty much, yeah. There's 17 now. I picked up 18. One went bad. So I have 17 left. I check on them every few days just to check their progression.
What up, Snug?
What in the world? Anyway, yeah. I'm over here looking. I fed the big snake like 4 days ago, and she's just now getting around to moving. So she's right in front of me, like coming to the glass, like, let me out.
Oh, that's cool.
So what's your biggest snake that y'all have? You said the biggest one was a ball python?
Yeah, I have ball pythons. That's specifically what I have. Sooner or later, I'd like to get like a couple hognose and maybe a racer or a pine snake or something else. You know what I mean? Just to have that diversity. But I don't like, boy. I mean, even getting a blood python. I mean, they don't get that long, but them things can get as round as a mini basketball.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're pretty heavy bodied. So I had a blood, and I liked
them things
him,
roll more than they slither.
Mine never moved. I had him for about 6 months, and he never really did anywhere. I put him in a larger. I kept him in the smaller enclosure because he was being kept in a rack.
Right.
Couldn't get him to eat anything like that, and tried putting him in a bigger enclosure, one that's all dark. And after about 7 months, I contacted the breeder, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing here, and I'm worried that his health is going to decline because I was able to get him to eat twice, and this was a new baby.
Right.
So I took him back to the breeder in Memphis and ended up getting a
Thanks for listening, Tommy.
another retake. I got
Tommy.
Golden Child Super Dwarf.
Nice. Is that from Nicole, by chance?
Mm-mm.
Did she make some? I was gonna say no. She didn't make super dwarfs, but she made some kind of golden childs this year. But you got a super
She
dwarf.
did.
That's awesome.
I have a mainland from Nicole. That's where my mainland came from.
How,
My 14 foot
how,
is she's a dwarf.
how big do you anticipate on your super dwarf getting?
The super dwarf, I want to make a video about this because she was hatched the same time I got my mainland. The super dwarf so she's right at a year old and she's like this long and about
Yep.
as big around as my thumb.
Yep.
My mainland that was hatched at the same time is pushing 8 feet, and she's about
Wow.
she's about this big around. Then the size difference is unreal. I have another super dwarf that's almost 3, and he's still bigger than the golden child. But the golden child would have been right at a year old. I don't expect her. I don't expect the golden child to exceed 9 feet. If she gets to 9 feet, I'd be very surprised.
Sounds like you
Yeah,
got a
that,
really nice line of super dwarf.
The last show I went to, USR Florida had a super dwarf, and it was like 6 years old, and was maybe pushing 4 foot, maybe a little over 4 foot, maybe like the size of a $50.
Oh, I see them. Let's see. I see them on like the Facebook groups and stuff, and people share, whether it's super dwarf, dwarf, mainland, how old they are. And it always surprises me with the diversity, I guess, as far as size goes. Because I've seen some mainlands that are not half the size of mine, or I've seen super dwarfs that are the same size as my mainland. Oh, Banna. Okay, yeah, I'll definitely have to make that, especially since I don't want the golden child to get like hit a growth spurt and then
Right.
not feel like up to make it in the video. I see that with my other super dwarf. He'll be slow to grow for months, and then all of a sudden within like a 2-month period, he's grown 6 inches.
Right. So what size do you feed your bigger snakes? Like, I mean, do you still feed them rats, just like extra large rats? I mean, do you get rabbits, pigs, or anything like that?
So my big retic, she gets rabbits and chickens, like roosters and stuff. My 2 other ones that are 7 foot, 8 foot, they get large rats, and then the golden child, she's on like a small rat or like a rat pup. She gets fed more frequently. The larger snake, she gets fed like every 6 weeks, 7 weeks if I can push it. When I got her, she was huge. Like she was very overweight. In my opinion, she wasn't a pet. She was being used as a breeder. Which I don't see anything wrong with that, but they kept her weight up. I think she was being fed every 3 to 4 weeks, and she was very overweight.
All right.
She was bigger. She was a lot thicker than my friend's Berm. I thought that she might have been bigger, and I tested it. I started a business where I take these reptiles to events and things.
Right.
I took her, the big retic, to an event with my friend who has an adult Berm, and my retic could have swallowed this Berm.
Huh.
Like he looked tiny compared to her, and that's when I was like, okay, this isn't
healthy.
This is not. She had like rolls whenever she, made like a U shape. So I pushed her back to about 6 to 7 weeks. Now it's every 5 to 6 weeks, and she's down to a healthy size now. So yeah, she gets rabbits. Which I order those from Rodent Pro. Everything's frozen thawed.
So you got them all in frozen thawed?
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yeah.
What's up, Mission? Thanks for coming in. Yeah, I tried, I guess, the frozen thawed, and it just took me too long, like, to do it. Like, I'm up to 40 snakes now, and I only had
Yeah.
20 then, and it was just like the time was just when I could get it done in a half hour compared to like 6 hours. It was a no brainer to me that I should just go live.
So I used to feed live. It was a lot easier for me, but then again, I didn't have anything larger. No, I wasn't feeding anything rats. It was all mice, and I never really noticed any like bites or anything like that. And then some of mine started getting big enough to need rats. The rats they'd bite. One of mine basically ripped off like a chunk like this long down his back. It took a good like 10, 20 minutes to stop the bleeding.
Wow.
And it took another like 7 months to get the scar to go away to where it's hardly noticeable now. So I decided then, like, especially when I got the bigger one, I didn't want to feed live. Their teeth are bigger. They can do a lot more damage. And it definitely, I hated it. I hated it for about 2 months because it took longer until I got used to what I was doing. The snakes got used to it. And now I think the longest part of it is thawing everything out, which now I know, okay, it's feeding day. I'm going to take this out and I'm just going to leave it on the counter for 8 hours. I'll come back to it tonight. That way I'm not sitting around waiting for things to thaw. Now that I have everything like down pat and the snakes understand, it's easier.
What it is.
It's a lot less stressful for me not having to watch and be like, okay, did they get bit? Are they currently being bit? And I just can't do anything about it because I've watched that, and that's the worst feeling. Knowing, okay, snakes wrap the rat. Rat is currently biting. I'm seeing my snake bleeding.
Right.
And there's nothing I can do about it.
What's up, Jose?
So,
I luckily, cross my fingers, knock on wood, whatever I got to do. Like, I haven't had that issue yet. Like, I have a 10-minute rule. I leave it in there for 10 minutes. And if I come back and it's not, and it's still there, you know what I mean? It just get taken out, and, they don't get fed till the following week. But then again, I try to feed weekly with my ball pythons. I mean, you hear a lot of people say they do bi-weekly, but I don't know. I don't know. My snakes eat.
Weekly.
My snakes eat.
Python weekly, and she does go on feeding strikes every once in a while.
Right.
And she'll let me know if she doesn't want to eat. She don't want to eat. I'm not going to make her. She's gone up to 6 months without eating, and I don't press it because I know she's going to pick it back up.
Right. I mean, I could open the drawer of a snake that I know anyways. Now, if I get one in, it takes me a while to get to know. I can open that drawer and say if that snake's going to eat or not. I mean, it's sometimes if they don't give me that sign that they want to, I'll throw the rat in. But 90% of the time, if they don't give me that look like they want it, they don't eat it.
Yeah, you can tell. You look at their eyes and you can know immediately if it's going to go the way you want it to or not. Which the only one that I have trouble with is the hognose. He's kind of he's picky, and he's the only one that I've ever had regurgitate a meal.
Right.
So and this happened fairly recently. I was going out of town, so I fed everybody, fed him, got up the next morning, checked on everybody, everything was fine, and then I left town for a week. When I came back, he had regurgitated his food.
I bet that was stinky.
Absolutely disgusting. And I was on live. I was on TikTok live when I found it. Which was
I tell you what, dead bloated rat is probably the worst smelling thing.
It wasn't even that. It was beyond that, because again, I was gone for a week. I came into maggots in 3 different places.
Wow.
Like you couldn't even see the rat anymore.
Yeah.
So this one,
That
I'm
was a
going out of
smell.
town. Yeah, it was, and I can do all kinds of bugs. I can do spiders, roaches, all the things. Maggots makes my skin crawl. I can't handle it. And so seeing that, I was just like, I hate you. I hate you so much right now. And it's been weeks. I'm still salty about it. And I'm going out of town next week. So I don't know if y'all watched Nicole's podcast. We were talking about what to do before you go to town.
Right.
We came up with a plan. I'm going to feed them 2 days before I leave to make
Yeah.
sure this asshole doesn't do that to me again.
Regurge again.
Because I've never had it happen, and he had no reason to.
No one was moving around. Like,
No one
you
was
being
in
left
here.
alone.
Kids weren't here. Like it. Yeah, I'm sorry. He's an asshole.
See, this last clutch you just dropped of mine, like the veins weren't strong in the eggs. Like, I don't know if they're going to make it. Like, it had really weak veins, and there was 2 slugs and a boob egg. So, like, I get my little, meter out, and I tested the heat strips, and they were only reading like 85 degrees. So, I got to replace these heat strips because I guess they're getting weaker. You know what I mean? They're not putting out the heat like they was. So I think that was the cause of this clutch not being, to like 100%. Like, I don't know if the eggs are even going to survive. And I think it was just due to the temperatures not quite being high enough. I mean, maybe it's something in that rack to where the heat strip, just that little section, isn't working. I mean, just a suggestion.
It would be. So I've never incubated snake eggs, but I used to breed chickens and turkeys and all that. And that's happened in that incubator that I used for that. Of like one side, I just didn't need to put anything on. Ended up having to replace the whole thing at some point. But there's nothing worse than opening up an egg and seeing deformities or just things that just did not progress after like the halfway point. It's kind of gross.
Like last year, I had one that had like a U-shaped kink in its neck, and it was just, it got euthanized, of course, because I didn't want it to suffer. I mean, that thing would never eat; it would have just starved, And it was a shame. Just us as breeders, we have to do certain things, and that's just one of the unfortunate sides of this hobby.
Right. Yeah. With anything. People used to think I was cruel when things would happen with the birds. Now, I haven't experienced this with snakes, but when I had the birds, people thought it was cruel to have to kill off certain animals for different reasons, especially babies. I had one chicken that he broke his leg, had to be euthanized because there was nothing that chicken was ever going to do. Those animals would have killed them in a much more cruel way.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
When you're dealing with animals and breeding and things like that, that's just going to be a part of it. If you want to deal with the animals in that capacity, no matter what kind of animal it is, you have to grow a pair and get over it. It's just how it is.
Yeah.
There's no way around it.
Yeah, there's no way around it. The what's it called? Tractor Supply up here. They'll sell their chickens and their ducks. I go up there and buy the ones with broken wings or broken legs. They sell them for $0.25 a piece, just to give them to my bigger adult snakes so they get the diversity. What's up, Ken?
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in, dude.
So,
yeah, but that's what they said that they can't do anything to fix them and make them back to right and be normal.
Right.
And if they want to pull them,
if there's a feather at a place on a chicken, the rest of the flock will eat it alive.
Wow.
They are ruthless.
Chickens are savages. I used to raise chickens, and if one gets a wound on it, like a scratch or a cut, the rest of them are like, you're out. They're
Yep.
giving them the eviction notice overnight.
Yeah. Right.
I mean,
It's crazy to see what chickens do to each other. It really is, man. Because sometimes you see that and it makes you go, "Man, do I really want to eat some chicken tonight?" Because I mean,
They're
they're
ruthless.
savages.
Mm-hmm. Like ducks and turkeys, peacocks are aggressive. They're aggressive as hell. They don't let anything go in the flock or whatever. So that's understandable. But as far as like snake breeding goes, and with the eggs that I'm incubating, if anything comes up deformed or anything like that, I do want to test out and see if my king snake will go for any of them.
I get to, I know what you're saying. Yeah, king snakes eat
Yeah.
other
Mhm.
reptiles, as part of their diet. So
Right now,
I
I
mean,
mean,
yeah.
she gets rats and chickens. So I add
How
something
big?
else to it.
How big is she?
Oh, she's not very big. She's like 2.5.
That's pretty
So
cool.
she's not too big. She eats like rat pups and chicks. I give her chicks. So she could definitely take down like a baby racer.
Right.
This is one of my smaller ones. Definitely not my smallest, but one of the smallest that I keep. She's not very friendly either.
Yeah, that's what I do with my so-called undesirables, like the normals, the ones that I miss.
Mhm.
I instead of me sitting here feeding them, and because you really can't move on from them ones, I basically sell them to a guy that feeds them to his corn snakes or king snakes. And I mean, it's not the ideal situation, but it beats
So, Will,
sitting here trying to feed them when there's no use for it. What up, Will?
Right. And I hate that because normals can make great pets, but if you go look at the rescues and all that, they're filled with normals.
Right.
With any kind of pet snake, I would much rather them be euthanized early on than end up being neglected or abused and end up being euthanized later on in life after a life of misery.
Right.
Well, it does suck.
I mean, I'm not saying that's what I'm breeding for and that's my plans, that's
Right.
not what I want to happen. I want them to find all happy homes, but there
It's
is
not all
that,
going to be the case.
yeah, there is that unfortunate, set of circumstances to where some of them are going to feed my buddy's king snakes. I mean,
Cancel.
cancel.
I get, okay, so I will get, we have a lot of farms and stuff around us, so I'll reach out to people that raise chickens and stuff now, and I'll go pick up their roosters, the young roosters, because they don't have a use for them. People will give them away because
Right.
you can't keep them in the flock, causes too much issues. So if you have something that is big enough to eat one,
It's the Tuesday show. We don't send links out on Tuesday. That's Thursday. We do that. Go ahead. Sorry.
she said Morgan said rooster too many times.
Did I?
Yeah, and he showed up.
Oh. Oops.
That's like saying HRA. What's up, Mitzi?
Is it really?
Hey, Mitzi. Yeah,
No,
if you say HRA, prophecy will show up, or if you say rooster too many times,
I'm gonna keep
prophecy
saying it.
exotics will show up.
Oh yeah, it's World Snake Day. Yes, it is.
Yep.
I've seen that on Instagram.
All right. So, are you looking into getting big snakes? Something bigger.
I want
Something
a white
bigger.
Lip.
I mean,
A white lip.
I think one day I will get a reticker or berm because I mean, like let's be honest, Lady Tiz, that woman is just the woman that you co-host with, she's just an inspiration to even people like me, like just to see what that woman does with her snakes and how she trusts them, and they're 18-foot snake just sitting there chilling around kids, and that you have nothing to worry about whatsoever. Like I know it can be done, and I see it, but it's just going to take me a couple years, I'd say, to really just get the balls to flat out do it. I mean, that's a big commitment. And
it is. And I was terrified to get a retic to begin with. So I got a super dwarf. And then I kept going back and forth between getting a mainland. That was never in my, I was never going to get a mainland. They just get too damn big. Right. And then I was on Instagram or somewhere on 2 a.m. and I saw her, like she had some, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to get a mainland. So I sent her a down payment at 2 o'clock in the morning.
What's up, Carissa?
Impulsive decision. And it's been the best. The baby that I got from her is absolutely amazing. I would recommend
how's it going?
What up, Chris?
To get a mainland any day.
Right. I mean, if I'm going to get a retic, I might get a dwarf. It's super dwarf. That's not, from what I see, it's like almost like having a ball python. They're around the same size. So I don't feel like that's going to take, I guess they can get a little bit bigger depending on how you feed the thing.
My other super dwarf, both of his parents are 12 feet. So
so they could get a little over 10, but if I'm going to get a big snake, I'm going to go berm. I'm going to get a berm, and I'm going to, feed it as often, not as often as I can, just as often as you can to keep it healthy so it don't get gigantic.
Right.
And, go from there.
Berms are easier too because they're not as active as retics. Retics are all over the place. Sweet as can be, but they are all over the place on like unhinged toddlers. They don't stop. If there is something to knock over, they're going to knock it over. So
if a person like me that is hesitant, with the bigger snakes, what would you say the best big snake to get for a newer person?
A berm. Because I see the guitars on your wall back there, and if you get a retic, before you can blink, every single one of those is going to be on the floor.
Those are fake.
Oh, well, I would tell you, they get up here and knock over all the shit. They've knocked over picture frames. They've broken blinds. They've knocked over vases. I went into my son's room, and the big one he has one of those TVs that like pull out from the wall and you can swivel. She had like wrapped around it and was like swinging all across the room. Like they find themselves in all the predicaments. They move too damn much. I love them. But if you don't want that kind of hassle, that kind of stress, go with a berm. They'll get somewhere and they'll just sit.
They're kind of the lazier big snake.
Mm-hmm. Right. When I hold my friend's berm and he just sits there. Any of my retics and they're just going, like they don't stop.
The retics seem like they want to explore a lot more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're very nosy.
And cause havoc all along the way.
Mm-hmm. One of them, the one that's almost 8 feet now, she was maybe around 5 or 6 feet, and she knocked a barn door off my wall. She got like in between the door and the wall and pushed out so far where it knocked it off the track.
I got one of my bigger females. She somehow makes a U shape and pushes up the lid. So I had to put her in one of the racks I got that don't use lids. That just slide in and out. I couldn't put her in a plastic bin because she would push it up. And I caught her one day, and that's what she would do. She would get this side up, and then she would raise this side up and make kind of like a U, and then just push up, and there it went. It'd pop it.
They're very, they know how to get out. So the big one, her cages, her glass is duct taped down to where she can't get out. She's in an 8 foot, and I just bought these enclosures. They're 8 foot enclosures. and there was a spot, I kid you not, like this big around in the middle of the plexiglass is the only spot that was like a little bit weak. She found it immediately, and was
Of course
out.
she
So
did.
now she's the only one I have an issue with. Her shit is duct taped shut, and it looks horrible, but
She ain't getting out.
She's not getting out. So every couple of months, every month or so, I got to go through and like replace the duct tape, make sure it doesn't fall off. Oh, she's broken my blinds. She's the one that's swinging from the TV. She
She's
gets
just
in
that
my
idiot.
dog crate. Yeah, and there's no telling her no. I will sit there and pull her back over and over and over, and she's going to keep going to the same spot. The other ones will eventually be like, okay, let me go somewhere else. This one is like, no, I can only go to this one spot, and it's exactly where I'm not supposed to be.
I mean,
like bonds.
I could definitely say that these things have personalities. Like, I don't let them out around my house. What's up, Betty?
She's torn up my shoes. She's so big, and she like slides through my sandals and all this, and just obliterates my new shoes. Like, and she goes in the dog crate. The dog crate's like wires are like this far apart. She goes through it like it's nothing, and she's like this big around.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, these things are, I mean, if you underestimate them, you're going to lose them. Like, they're going to get out, and you might not be able to find them.
Well, no, you're gonna find it, but you're gonna find a lot of destruction in their path.
Well, I'm talking about a ball python, like a baby. One of my babies got out, and I think it's gone. I just can't find it. I mean, I tore the house upside down. It's been gone for like 6 months, and I don't think I'm going to find it. I think it's gone.
That happened with this king snake a year and a half ago. She was gone for 4 months, and she was like the size of my pinky. She was so little, and she just showed back up one day.
Right.
So don't lose hope. You might find it.
I think I hear it every once in a while.
Yeah.
But then I go tear that part up and it's gone. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I hear it in my closet a lot because its rack is right there near the closet. So I tore the closet apart like 5 times trying to find it, and maybe it went to the other side. It might be in the wall. I think it got down like underneath the floor into the rafters. I think that's where I'm hearing it. And I mean, because that's where his food source would be, because we live out near the wood lines and we have rats, and or not rats, but mice. And that's where they live, underneath the floor. You could hear them. And I think he got down in there, and there's like no way I could get down in there. Look, unless I start cutting holes in the floor. It might.
You never know. They find themselves in all kinds of places. Whenever my white ball python was a little bit younger, she was in this one right here, but I would find her in the middle drawer of this cabinet.
Nice.
And so she was going in through a hole at the bottom of the cabinet in the back where the wires would go through, and she'd find her way in the same drawer. So she definitely has like a place that she goes to.
Right.
And so after realizing that, I started letting some of my snakes out and just watching where they go.
What's up, Patrick?
In the case that they do get out, you kind of have a good idea of where they might be. We figured out where my king snake was. I let her out, and she would go to the fireplace.
Yeah.
So
maybe that's what I'll do. I'll let one of the other hatchlings out.
Lily whites.
Right.
Lilies. Yeah, they seem to go into the same spot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, I tried to like leave a heat spot in the middle of the floor. Like I put a heat mat in the middle of the floor and see if it would, go on it. And I left it out for a week.
It's not going to go on it if it's in the middle of the floor. Put it like tucked away in a corner somewhere where you can like put a hide over it or something.
The first time I set it in the middle of the floor, and of course it didn't work. And then the second time I kind of put it around the corner of the closet. Now I didn't have a hide on it. I didn't think about putting a hide on it. Maybe I'll try that. See if that works.
Yeah, because they don't want to be exposed.
I was thinking about like getting a frozen rat and leaving it out overnight and see if, maybe put like a booby trap around it, a box closed down to see if I could coax it out. Been thinking about something like that, but
That's not a bad idea.
like hook the rat up to like some kind of like trigger that would like move and the box drop.
Yeah.
Booby trap it. That was my next idea.
Well, once they eat, they'll get somewhere and then they won't move for a while. So maybe if you leave a mouse out, they'll eat it and just kind of chill there. I don't know. Maybe put a heat mat underneath it, under a hide.
Right. I mean, it's only a pied, so it's not. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but I did all I could do to find this thing, and if it comes out, it comes out. If it don't, then
Bosa has a great idea. He said call him by his name and ask it nicely to come out.
I think I tried that the first time, Bosa. I mean, he's one of them stubborn ones.
That's funny.
Ken's got a little fishing string all over the house with beer cans on it, so when it hits the fishing string, it's like.
No, I was going to powder the floor. Like go get a bunch of I got that dye at Damascus Earth. I was just going to powder that all over the floor and see if I see any swiggle marks in the floor anywhere.
Okay.
They'd kill off all the bugs and stuff.
I did that when I was looking for this king snake. I basically coated my entire house in, what was it? Dirt. It was dirt to see if I could see anything. I just ended up having a house full of dirt. I couldn't find it. I just had to wait for her to come out.
Yeah,
I will say she was a bitch before she escaped. And then when she came back 4 months later, she was so sweet. Like, I think she was hungry as hell.
Right. I mean, he was getting fed every week. I don't know why he wanted to get out and leave, but he found his way out and he left. No bastard.
There you go, Ken. Paint your toenails and your fingernails.
Yeah, wiggle it down in the holes and around the corners.
No, you're probably wiggling your toes at night while you're sleeping.
I mean, I keep thinking it's just going to come out because, like, the other two snakes that got out, like, they eventually just showed themselves. Like, the one, I was sitting there in the middle of the day, like, noon, watching TV, and it just comes crawling down the rack, like, looking at me like, hey, I'm hungry. I submit. Like, give me food,
No.
Like, I didn't even hear it until, like, I seen something moving out of the corner of my eye. And in the last one, the one before that, my dog found it. Like, started barking and carrying on. Went there. Well, hey, Franco, what are you doing out? But this one, you just haven't found it yet.
Yeah. See, I can't. I would be so nervous now that I have these two little dogs.
I did all that.
They're
Well,
actively like hunting stuff all over my house, looking for anything they can eat. So if I lose a snake in this house, they're going to go right after it if I let them out.
like 90% of them that because I've had other ones that got out, they was right there in the rack, like laying near the heat tape. They just went behind the tubs and chilled.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, this one, he just wanted to go, I guess. I don't know. Don't want to be found.
Oh.
It happens, I guess.
Yeah. That sucks though. Oh.
Yeah, I mean,
you said how long's it been?
Probably about 6 months, I'd say. I mean, he's almost a year old now. Like, I'd say it's about 4 months, 5 months he's been gone, because he got out when he was about a half year old, like 6 months. And they was cut in September or October of last year. That was clutch too. It's probably early October. So he's coming up on a year. Like, keep thinking he's going to come out, because I do hear him, but I don't know. I think maybe I'm going to lose this one. Sucks.
Are you looking for him at night or anything?
Yeah, I mean, I've like usually like when I hear a noise like in the middle of the night, like I'll get up and see if I can find him, like tearing the closet apart. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning, but it just, yeah, it hasn't showed up yet. That mofo in Canada. You think he got across the border?
I don't
mean,
know.
I think he'd go.
He might be down there coming to your house.
Yeah, I think he'd go south. I don't think they'd go north. Well, if a pod shows up at your house, Bosa, it's mine.
Yeah, we'll know what happens.
It's a black pastel pod, to be exact. So we got about 5 minutes left. This is your time that you wait, Stan. We didn't even ask her the question. We totally forget.
Oh God!
We got to ask you the one question, and then it'd be your time to shout out and tell everyone where they could find you and all that. But the one question that we ask everybody is, if you have a superpower, what would it be?
Invisibility.
I mean, we've discussed this many times because that was my original pick, and then some other people come up with some good ones. Yeah, because some other people come up with some good ones, like, manipulating time, like, could just manipulate time anytime you want. That could be really handful. I mean, flying, you wouldn't even need a car. You wouldn't have to pay car insurance. You wouldn't have that bill. You just all right, I'm going to Florida. You know what I mean? Like, put your goggles on.
But if I'm invisible, I can just hop on a one-way flight to Florida.
Like if you wanted money, you could just walk into the bank and be like,
you could go first class and nobody knows the wiser.
Floating money's going across the bank. Nobody's going to stop floating money. Nobody's going to go, oh my God, look, that floating money is going out the door. They're going to be freaked out. They're not going to know what to do. So, I mean, I get it. I like the invisibility one.
Yeah, I think that would be my time travel would be cool. But there would be some things wrong with that too that kind of makes my head spin. So.
What's up, our dad's gone crazy? Thanks for coming in. But yeah, you could definitely fix any kind of money problems you have, because you could just watch the Super Bowl and then go, okay, let me back it up 4 hours and go place, a 5,000, all my money on, the winning team, especially if they're the underdog.
That's true.
You can make unlimited amount of money you want off of sports betting if you can manipulate time.
Yeah, that is a good point. Have unlimited money.
Taking other superpowers.
Like hypnosis, getting people to do whatever you want. That would be, you could just go up to Elon Musk and be like, I want $1 billion and a Tesla. And one of them Tesla trucks, just give you whatever you want. I mean,
them Tesla trucks are ugly.
They're ugly, but I mean,
them things are all over the place here in Florida, everywhere.
What part of Florida are you in?
Flagler Beach. I'm in between Jacksonville and Daytona.
Oh, okay.
I'm about 25 minutes to Daytona. I'm north of Daytona.
I mean, they predicted a lot of shit, the Simpsons, I will say that. But, I mean, I really think people are doing things that are in past Simpsons episodes just because, there's a theory. So they're just watching the Simpsons and doing it. I don't know. Maybe not. But anyways, we're down to about 2 minutes. Tell the audience out there where they can find you, You're not breeding snakes. You more or less do this as a hobby because you like the animals. I mean, just tell the people out there what you want them to know.
It started out as a hobby, but now it's a business.
Right.
So I started a business called Morgan's Exotic Encounters, where I take them to educate schools and other family-friendly events. But as far as social media goes, my handle is Miss Exotics on TikTok and Instagram. And it's basically where I go post videos, pictures, and things like that of my animals. Try to make it educational when I can, and just really try to push how good reptiles can make as pets. Things like that. People saying that they all need to die and things like that really bothers me. So I really try to gear a lot of my content towards that. So
Absolutely. I will tell you, in the last couple of years, my mind has changed towards it because I was that guy 5 years ago that if I seen a garter snake running or going across the yard, I'm taking a shovel and chopping its head off. But now I save them. I pick them up, take them to the woods. It's been a total misunderstanding about these creatures my whole life up until 2022 when I started doing this.
yeah.
And now I mean, I appreciate them a little more every day.
Yeah, that's where my a lot of mine comes from. I grew up, my parents hated snakes, siblings hated snakes, and when I started having children, I did not want to pass that fear on to them.
Right.
And we lived on a farm, so I started really educating myself and really unlearned a lot of the shit that I grew up learning. Realized that a lot of it was bullshit.
Right.
Half of it didn't even make sense. So I started teaching myself, teaching my children. My children leave the house and they talk about it with their friends. And before you know it, I have a house full of kids that come over and they're like, okay, what is this? Tell me about this. I have people in my community message me almost daily. What is this? Is it harmful? What do I do? So I think it's been good for my community, essentially.
Let's say your whole community. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love it. It makes me happy.
Heck yeah.
Make a difference.
You sure are.
I don't know. I try, but if I can change one person's mind, make it worth it. And I have people come over here, they're terrified to even walk in my house. And then by the time they leave, they're telling me if I die, they're taking this snake or that snake. And,
See?
half of them, maybe not half, maybe a quarter of them have already gotten their own pet snakes. So
Wow.
Nice.
There you go.
it's nice.
I mean, I finally got my mom to come in my house, and like she was walking away with me, and I touched her arm, like the backside of her arm with the snake tail, and she was like, "That didn't feel so bad." I said, "See, look, you're opening up. You don't have to be scared."
I tell people to hold their hands out like this and close their eyes, and if they will trust me enough to do that, it really isn't.
It's not much more than that.
Bad. Yeah, they just trust the process. You'll be fine.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're a little over an hour. We're going to start ending the show. Stan, you want to start us off with a closing thought?
Yeah. Morgan, thank you for coming out. Appreciate it, as always.
Thank y'all for having me on. I enjoyed it.
Appreciate everybody coming out and chat tonight, as always. And if you guys ain't supporting U.S. Art, come on, man. I don't know what you guys are doing.
What are you doing?
So head over and become a member today, and don't forget support U.S. Art Florida, because we need it just as much as everybody else does. So just remember, some of the things that happen here could happen in your state if they want to follow suit. So we need everybody. It's not just regular U.S. Art, but U.S. Art Florida makes a big difference too. So if you could, please support, and I'd appreciate it. Until the next time, I appreciate you, Ken. As always, brother.
As always. So we want to start out with shouting out to our sponsors. Eddie from Static Wars. I seen you in the chat. Great guy. Got some things going on in there. Stranger, Clown, Desert Ghost, Hypo. He's got all the good stuff over there. Keep an eye on him. Then Area Reptile Steve. It's your boy. What could you say about him? Like, he's energetic, like, as hell. And, like, I don't think anyone's ever going to top that amount of energy. Just, guy's a good dude. He loves everybody and he loves the community. So go on over and support him. Then RGI, our latest sponsor, always evolving, their techniques and how fast they can get these shed tests out to you and the shed test, always putting, more different ones out there and doing the work and, being a leader in that community. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys. Morgan, awesome show we had. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. And
I enjoyed it. I'm glad you had me on.
Yes.
And I
Tomorrow,
recognize a few people that I talk to regularly in the chat too. So it's nice to see that.
Yeah, and if you guys want to see more of Morgan, you can catch her Monday mornings with Lady Tiz on Two Peas and a Podcast,
Every
8
Monday.
a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
yes, sir. Tomorrow night, I'm going to be on Morphforge's episode. I forget what they call it, but
Remorph.
yeah, Remorph. There you go. See, Stan's got my back. That's why I need you here. I don't remember it all, but you got it. So I'll be on air tomorrow night. And then Thursday at RWO's on my channel. And it's my birthday. Woohoo. Till then, we'll see you guys. Peace.
Thank y'all so much.